Hello and welcome to another lighting diagram lesson. My name is Trenton Hoshiko, and today we're talking about Peter Ilsted's Interior with Girl Reading. Before I get started, if you want to make your own diagrams and you want to get my absolutely free Filmmaker Tools template for Draw.io, which is a free and open source diagramming software, you can head over to my Patreon. The link is down in the video description. And this template with all the tools right here at the top already created for you and labeled and ready to go and start creating diagrams is available completely free. You don't even have to join. If you do want to join, I love having free and paid members. Paid tiers start at just $2 and generally supporting these videos and also my regular cinematography videos. So as usual, let's take a look at the painting first before we start diagramming. Now, I think this is a gorgeous painting. As I talk about frequently with these, I love window lights. I love using windows that have curtains to create kind of soft ballooning light all around. And what's cool about this one in particular to me is that it both has soft light and hard light all coming from this window and motivated by the window itself. And that's something that I think would be very useful for lots of filmmakers who are looking for references for how to have that kind of look. And so our main source here is the window itself. But there's something about the window that's not necessarily apparent at first glance. And that is that this window has a kind of a depth to it. This is a curtain rod that has, 4 or 5 inches of extension into the space. And then the curtains are draped down. So it creates sort of a light box in a way where the material at the top is diffusing the light. That's how we're getting even light kind of all around. And the material at the bottom is pulled away and diffusing off to the sides, but allowing hard light through in this triangle pattern to reach the floor and the desk and those kinds of things to create some extra shape in the space. And I really love that combination, and I think it's really cool with how that is creating this almost global light lantern-esque look because of how that fabric catches and disperses that light. And I noticed this in particular because of the shadows on the wall here and the shadow right above. This shadow right here at the top wouldn't be possible if this curtain setup was flush with the wall, because this is catching the light and the top piece is blocking the light for just this area right here, but the light's being scattered enough that we don't get a really dense shadow and there's some fill light because of the bounce. The bottom of the curtain is brighter than the top. This is probably later in the afternoon, and that's why when we have this being bright down here, we're getting the shadow that's going up slightly while still being filled in by the kind of global illumination of the rest of the curtain. We do want to make sure that when we're replicating this, that we have it open so that we can get that nice hard light look on the ground right here. And let's not forget our subject. This little girl over here who's reading, her face is being illuminated by the curtain and it's pretty even across her. You can also see the shadows on the ground right here that are pointing towards camera right because they are coming from the window. But while we have shadows that are going this direction, that's because of how the light's being caught by the curtains, even though the actual direction of the light from the window itself is towards the left side of the frame, not the right side of the frame. So we're kind of having two different things here. And that's also how we get the illumination that is all the way over here and being blocked by this cabinet. So I think that there's some interesting lighting here that we're going to try to strive and replicate. As usual, I'm going to be using the floor plan tools to draw out my set. I know that this is technically a distance label in terms of how Draw.io has it, for usage here, but I'm going to use it as the window today because I can have it extend out and we can also get just an idea of how the light direction is going. So maybe instead of window, I say curtain. And then this guy right here is our window itself. From here, let's add in some furniture. And I do realize that this bookcase right here is actually built into the wall, but I thought it'd be fun to just put something in there just to fill out the space a little more. And last but not least, we need our subject sitting on the chair. And so this is basically what we're starting with here. The curtains are going to help illuminate this scene. So I'm going to change them to the color that I usually use for lights and modifiers, which is that. And then let's talk about how if this is a curtain on the right side and the left side, these are going to be becoming sources. So let's use some of our light paths to just kind of show how this is operating here. It's going to have a pretty wide cast because of how it, it catches and spreads the light, basically like a lantern or a space light. And so it'll be something like this, and you can see how then that would create the shape of the chair shadow on the ground going this direction. And then really the same thing is happening on the other side as well. And I'm just extending both these out until they get to, basically the wall, because that's kind of how this is going. This is spreading light everywhere. And so now we can see how this curtain is actually creating, the darkness behind here, where it's, outside of the pathway of the light that is being, diffused throughout the entire room. We can see that this right here, maybe I should kind of bring it in a little bit like this, is creating the shape of the shadow on the wall, because the light being cut right here is a source that's below it and a little bit further out. But these are long shadows because they're almost actually, kind of in line with each other, just like how you get really long shadows when it's about to be sunset. So how do we actually get this light though? Well, we're gonna need a lamp and we're gonna put it outside. We're gonna pretend for now that this is on some sort of location. You could do this on location, you could do this in a studio. The principle here is the same. On a location, you might need to compete with the actual sun or wait for the sun to pass this window so that you can then create your own shape. If you don't have a light that's really powerful, you can wait until the sun gets to this shape right here, and then we can talk about using some other lighting to create the rest of that ambient light as well. And so what I would do is I would have a powerful light. You will need a powerful light if you want to have this much of a cast onto the ground here, and you're going to need it a little bit far away. However, you're able to manage that yourself. And this one, I'm going to put a Fresnel on it because you need that power, and any extra power that we can get will be a boost to it. This is probably going to be one of the more flagship aperture lights that you would need for, to get some power with an LED like this. If you don't have something like that, then you can make things work. You can, change how your exposures actually functions, or you can sacrifice a little bit of the hardness of this. So something like this, and that is supposed to be passing through the window here. We want to have these curtains closed enough and this to be in a position where we're illuminating the entire window frame as much as possible. That way we are catching that light in those curtains, and then the shaping of this on the ground will come from the triangle and the framework of the, window casement itself. Something along these lines. And you should then be able to get that happening right here. We're going to have this light be at a high enough angle that it's not taking this light mark on the ground and pushing it all the way behind the cabinet, but we don't want it to be so low either. We're going to be careful with the actual height of the lamp here and the distance to make sure that it actually lands in our frame right about where it is here. If you go too high with it, it'll be closer to the wall. If you go too low with it, it'll be further from the wall and you won't be able to see it. So just, really careful placement with this. I would just venture to say maybe like a downwards angle of like 30, 35 degrees, somewhere around that would be my guess. And so this would be kind of how you could do it if you had a really powerful lamp out here. That Fresnel definitely is something that's useful. If you want to, you could do the mirror trick, improve the hardness of the mark of the light on the ground there. I'm not going to show that in particular right now. That would be basically taking this setup, bouncing it through a mirror. That, in my opinion, usually works best, especially for micro-budget filmmakers, if you're not having a window of this size. And I will just also put a box around her arm right here. We want to make sure that we're getting a little more light on her arm right here, and having the back of her arm have this sort of like fadey wrap to it. So this is the kind of the most basic version you can have here. If you need more power for your lights, or you don't have enough lights, or you don't have enough light from just one lamp, you can actually take two of these setups and put them together and ultimately have two Fresnel lamps passing through a silk. Now this could be a diffusion sheet that's like a 4x4, or it could be smaller, but you would need them to be passing through the same ones so that silk becomes its own source. So I would say use this with a 2x3, and move it back just a little bit further, you'll still get enough of a hard light on the ground here, but you'll be able to double your power if you don't have a lamp that's really powerful to begin with and able to do it all on its own. You have to remember that most movies, now there's LEDs and stuff like that, but for a really long time, we're using 5 and 10,000 watt Fresnel, tungsten lamps to make sure that we get enough light in a room, and putting that 5K or 10K outside to get enough light. So we can't expect the exact same thing from LEDs, especially if we're talking micro budgets and low budgets. But if you have two of these, you have the silk, you can get enough of that shaping on the ground there to, I think, make it work and make it look good while having enough power to illuminate onto the ground and these curtains themselves. So for the sake of simplicity in terms of how we're visualizing this, let's just imagine that we can use one lamp out here and have it be as good as possible in terms of getting this look on the ground, something along these lines. But knowing that if you actually needed it, you could do something like this with the two lights. Just keep that in your back pocket, okay? What if we want to make sure that we're getting enough light back on here? She is the subject of this. The whole space is beautiful and we love it, but we want to make sure that she has enough illumination on her. Well, what's really cool about this image, in my opinion, is that we can hide a lamp down here. Keep in mind, this is a bookcase that's built in, so maybe I should actually move it. We have a lamp that's on the floor down here, basically in line with this, or a little bit further towards the wall. And we can aim that lamp right back into her face while hiding it and any of its, cast from the camera behind the desk. And so you would probably need some barn doors for this to just help bring back that edge light to her and amplify what is being created by the window itself. So this is just one idea of how you can just add a little bit more into this. You don't have to do this part, but this is an idea. But really, we just want to make sure that we're getting that edge light on her, and we can use a lamp hidden to do so, to just help. Now, at the same time, her back right here is probably the darkest thing that we have in our entire frame. We have a bunch of light bouncing around, but still, that's kind of dark. So let's take a wag flag and put that right behind her off, camera, obviously, right behind her to just bring that shadow back down and not have any light bounce off this wall so that we retain that contrast right there. We can do something really similar back here with the actual wooden desk over here. And if we're really having fun with this, I had an idea to take tube lights and put a tube light vertically just outside of the view of the window frame on the outside, but right about here and right about here. So that way their light is filling the entire window frame, and this one on the right helps bring more light into the left side of the curtain, and the one on the left helps bring light more into the right side of the curtain. This setup right here is obviously a lot more complex than these two. These two could benefit from the use of a wag flag, something like that just right behind, like we talked about a moment ago. If you're really, really on a budget, you might not have access to those, but if you do, they might be useful in helping create more contrast. So I lost count a little bit. Sort of, I guess it's 3 or 4 options here, depending if you count the tube light idea separate from the kicker over on the right side here. But this is, 3.5 different ways to light a scene like this to really, really embody the shape of this curtain and help use that to create the light source for the room, using the sun outside to illuminate that and help spread the light, but also have that crack in the middle to help make sure that we get this really cool mark on the floor. I think this image is really, really cool in terms of how it uses and mixes soft light and hard light. For any of these, if you needed more light, you could use something like a lantern or a space light towards the center of the room, just, out of frame, to help create some omnidirectional exposure raising light. Because you have so much light coming in from these two lights or a really powerful singular light, I'm not sure that you would need that. But if you did have to use a less powerful light outside to make this work for you and your budget and your access to equipment, then you might need something to just boost it just a little bit. But yes, this is 3 different ways to light something similar to this and to get that idea of having the curtains become this kind of envelope that holds on and then disperses the light into your space. Really take a minute and look at this image. I think it has a lot to teach us as cinematographers in terms of how we can mix hard and soft light even in one shot. And so that wraps us up for today. If you like videos like this, please give it a like down below. That helps me reach new viewers who also like lighting diagram videos using the YouTube algorithm. If you want to see more, you can feel free to subscribe. I make videos about cinematography, lighting, and micro-budget filmmaking in general, and I'd love to have you. Like I said at the beginning, if you want to get this free Filmmaker Tools template, you don't even have to sign up. It's available on my Patreon at patreon.com/TrentonHoshiko. The direct link to it will be down in the video's description. While you're there, if you do want to join, the tiers start at just $2 and help support these videos as well as my regular cinematography videos where I talk about these kinds of lighting lessons. If you do want to just join as a free member, I'd love to have you. I recently passed 100 members, and now I'm shooting for 200 members between the free and paid tiers. If you want to get the kinds of equipment that we've been talking about here to help you with your own productions and add to your kit, I do have affiliate links down in the video description. Those help support the videos and this channel at no extra cost to you. This week, please take care of yourselves, take care of those around you. There is a lot of crazy stuff going on in the world right now, and we all need each other, and we need our friends, and we need our family, and we need our community all around us. So go out there and try to do your best to bring some joy into the life of those around you. And most of all, I hope you have an absolutely wonderful day ahead of you. Peace.